Coming up on Flowing into Awareness with Master Intuitive Anatara. Life to life. Does your existence continue? What happens after we die? How does the process make you feel? Is there a way to prepare for this moment? This and more coming up next on Flowing into Awareness. This week's episode is brought to you by Support the Mountains Herbal Parasite Cleanse. This formula targets the small and large intestinal tracts and larvae, the most broad-spectrum formula available today. 100% organic, formulated by Dr. Mikio Sanki, author of the Esoteric Acupuncture series. For 10% off your first bottle, visit shopyogahub.com and use the coupon code CLEANSE at checkout. Hello and welcome to YHTV's Flowing into Awareness with visionary and master intuitive Anatara. I'm Christina Suzuma, your host for this program. And today's program is Life to Life. Does your existence continue? What a fabulous title. Hello, dearest Anatara.
And good day to you, Christina.
So... do we continue? One after the other after the other?
It's so interesting. I had a very close friend die a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was even just last week. And whenever that happens, or when a family member goes, one starts to think about life to life. What is life? What is the space, after life or between this life and the next life? And I found that there were so many variations on belief systems and understanding about what goes on when we die from this physical being. So I thought to myself, it's time to talk about this again. It's time to share what I have experienced with the dying, with life changing, with life becoming something else. Because I like to think that life is not just what we see of ourselves as physical beings. Life is the energy that is us. Life is the signature that is us, that goes between what we call physical life and another physical life, and also rests and grows and learns and knows in the spaces that we could label in some way as the space between life. So a bit of history about my experience with death and dying. I worked for many, many years in a caregiving home support type practice. And I was called in very frequently to do end-stage palliative care, to be with people when they had made the final decision, or when their physical bodies were finally ready to step out of being alive and being part of the energetic of whatever physical body they were in. And I found, as I was doing this, as I did with aging relatives, as they left this life, when they decided to die from this body, I found that there were these realms inside their understanding and inside their visions as they were checking out of this life and moving on to whatever was going to be next for them. I found that I was able to tune in and listen to them the way I'm able to listen to the angels, the way I'm able to listen to other guides and sponsors of things in this life that we have. And I saw through many, many different experiences that sometimes there's fear, sometimes there is great joy about whatever the next phase is, and that always, at least in my experience, when someone is at the final, what I would call gateway between this physicality and the next part of their beingness, that there is an acceptance, and there is an excitement, and there is almost a jubilance, a joy that says, this is rapturous. This is just amazing. I have nothing to fear here. I have nothing to worry about. And I was thinking about people that I've known throughout my life and people that I queried when I was working with the dying. And some, I would ask them the question, how do you feel about leaving this body? What do you think is going to happen to you? What are you afraid of? What are you comfortable with? What do you expect or not expect is coming? And I found that there were different levels of apprehension and fear. Some because people were afraid that there was nothing that they were going to. Some afraid that all that they could possibly ever know was what they experienced through the animation of their current physical body with their spirit. And then some who believed that there was something they were going to, but since it was so unknown, it was also terrifying. So I really saw that there perhaps hadn't been enough of an explanation for anybody, or enough sharing for most people, about what it means to be physical, to be one's spirit self, to be one's universal self, animating a physical body, and what it means to leave this physical body. And so what's your experience with this, Christina?
Well, I too have worked with many that have gone through their hospice or their end-of-life journeys. And yes, I have experienced, like you, the ones that were very fearful, or ones that weren't in fear but were holding on for others. But there's a certain beauty that I've witnessed as people transition, especially when they have support. I think it's very tragic the way a large part of our society looks upon illness and death, where, they rush people to the hospital and they're suddenly in these very cold, sterile confines, as opposed to having loving people and friends and, guidance or just having other energies around them. And I've seen the difference between what that does for the individuals. And when there is loving individuals that are supportive in their release, it is just magnificent. And the peace that is gifted, not only to the individual who has transitioned, but the ones around them, to see that this being has transitioned into the next life in peace, and to see that come over their physical body is a gift, is such a fantastic gift that is beautiful. And it's, it's like birth. It's a rebirth. That's what I start to call it. It's not death. It is actually a rebirth. Like the beauty of a child coming into this world. This is the beauty of the child returning to another world.
Oh, it is. I always considered that the being with people that are dying, being with people that are making that beautiful, as you describe it, transition. That I was a midwife to whatever their next stage was. That I was being the midwife to take them from the physical into the non-physical for whatever amount of time they remained in that non-physical state. Everything that you say, I have experienced everything that you describe, and I have been able to go into the hearts and I guess I'd say minds through the way that I intuitively tune in and check in with people to find out what the fears are, to find out what the joys are, to find out and hear whatever the messages are that they want to share with their loved ones or with people that may not even be present. And I've seen the escapes that people actually travel through it at at light speed, at lightning speed, as they make their re-entry into the spirit realm. And that really, to me, that really is what it's all about. And I just want to say to everyone, to those who know these things are true that you and I are discussing, and to those that aren't too sure that this is possible, and to those that still have an apprehensive feeling about it or a fear about it, that when you start on your journey, whenever or however it comes to you, you are going to know how to go through it. You are going to have everything that you need to take the steps to move through the stages of your own personal rediscovery of what's on the other side of this life. One of the other things that came to me as I was thinking about this episode was that the way that we can tune into people that are dying, people that are going, people that are moving through, we can do that with ourselves. We can find the way into whatever it is that we feel now about the proposition of, or the idea of, dying. We can look at what that means to us. We can look at the fear of the sadness, or the fear of the aloneness, or the fear of being in something that we can't remember, and so at this point we can't comprehend. You can find those answers within yourself right now and talk to yourself about them. You can, you can listen to what you are telling yourself about how you feel about leaving your body. And you can create a dialogue that, by simply, sitting around the periphery of that dialogue, will start to bring you little indications from, as I always say, from the people that you meet, or from things that you read, or from something that you hear. You can start to fill in your own needs about how you can leave this body of yours. And, it doesn't mean that you have to believe that you will reincarnate. It doesn't mean that you have to believe any of the things that you or I have said. It simply means that you can find your own way into knowing that you are capable of dying. You are fully capable of dying. You've proved that you were capable of being born. So let yourself start to relax, if you're not, with the idea of dying, and let yourself be even more appreciative of what it's going to show you and what you're going to understand as you leave your body when you die. Take it all in. Take it in now. There's no need to wait. There's nothing to hesitate about. Be free within your own perception of what's going to happen to you next.
Lovely, lovely. And you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I believe in some cultures and societies, it's, it's almost like an omen to think about it. So it's truly about unleashing and coming to be with yourself and trust it.
Exactly.
Yes. Lovely, Anatara. Thank you so much. What a beautiful moment. And of course, we would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us in this new platform of education and information. We're grateful for your continuous support, and we look forward to hearing your feedback on how we can serve you better. You can connect with Anatara by following her on Twitter @Anatara, and of course on Facebook @Master Intuitive. And of course, through her own website, anatara.ca. We would love to hear any questions or comments that you might have. Simply scroll down on the page and type it into the comment box, and we will make sure Anatara gets it. Or if you're listening to this through a device, give us a call at 818-LETS-TALK. 818-LETS-TALK. Until next time, namaste.
I think that a lot of people get hurt, spraining muscles or tearing muscles or bruising muscles, and not always sure what to do. And most of the time, people don't do it as well as they can. So I always think that by having an understanding of some of these systems, give you more insights in how to prevent problems, prepare yourself to be in the best shape, muscular-wise.